produced by the Cleveland Sound Radio Network. Here is the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show, hosted by Glenn Moore and Steve Guy.
Welcome to a special edition of the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Glenn Moore. Steve Guy is lost. I don't know where he is. But the reason why we have a special episode this week to go along with our episode from earlier this week with Little Guido, a.k.a. Nunzio. You can go on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, and be able to download that episode along with all our other episodes that we have interviews with Seth Rollins, with Neville, with Samoa Joe, the Young Bucks. The list goes on. So check it out. Go to clesound.com and check out our list of interviews that we've had with past guests, because this week, with the big news, big TNA title change with a Cleveland native becoming TNA World Champion. And, of course, we're talking about Ethan Carter III, EC3, joining us on the show, not for the first time, not for the second time, but this is his third time on the show. A man we all know, we all love here in Cleveland. EC3, you are coming off your World Championship. It was last night on Impact, bell to bell. I know it was taped in the week in advance, but you got to watch yourself win the title. How are you coming down from this high, or are you still on a high?
Third time's a charm to be on the podcast. Who thought we could get this far, Glenn? Three-time guest. Coming down off this high, geez. Well, like I said before we hopped on air, you asked me how I was feeling, and we did tape it last Thursday, but yeah, there was a little bit of a bender involved, so returning my body to homeostasis, I don't think there was a better way to do that than the realization and watching myself on television become the TNA World Champion. So it's pretty sweet.
You joined the company of, obviously, Kurt Angle. You got Sting, Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, Bully Ray, we all know as Bubble Ray Dudley in WWE, WBF, Samoa Joe. Also on the list, Bobby Roode, Magnus, Lashley, RVD, Eric Young, Austin Aries, Mr. Anderson, Mick Foley, Chris Sabin, James Storm, and now you. That's a pretty nice list of guys that are in the business now and also out of the business. You're added to that list, man. You're part of that crew.
Yeah, I mean, when you read it like that, it is a pretty damn exclusive list, and I guess that's a great thing about a TNA World Championship. You know, they take a lot of flack for doing things wrestling fans hate for some reason, but one thing they do very well is keep the integrity of the World Championship, you know, integritable. Is that a word? They keep the integrity of the World Championship.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool to be on that list, and I couldn't be prouder.
How big is it that it comes against, obviously, you and I are all, the same age, you know, growing up watching Kurt Angle in WWF, you know, rising so quickly with WBF. Obviously, you got to wrestle him plenty of times with TNA. But how big is that your first big singles championship is against a future Hall of Famer, a Hall of Famer right now in Kurt Angle?
Well, he's a Hall of Famer in every company he's been in.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. But I mean, dude, whoa. Like you said, you know, we grew up watching Kurt, and, you know, I wouldn't have pursued wrestling as far as I did if like, him didn't make me love it watching him as a kid and, you know, teen and growing up watching him. So, I mean, it's very, very rare you have the opportunity to have your dream match. And I think it's even more rare that it happens to be for a world title. Like, it's surreal. But, you know, like, I've had that match 1,000 times in my head. I mean, I remember doing German suplexes and angle slams in my backyard, locking in ankle locks. And then next thing you know, I take about 18 of them, give or take. I don't remember because they all hit me in the head. But withstand that and then be able to defeat him with a wrestling hold. Pin, what? I mean, out of control.
You had a chance to watch it, and you know we talked about this before the show. You know, obviously this was taped last week, so you've had almost a week to kind of soak it in. So the audience knows, the dirt sheet spoilers, they obviously it's put out there. If you want to know, you can go ahead and read it. But people that are, hardcore into the wrestling, they don't want to read the spoilers. They want to be surprised. But how is it for you being able to sit back and watch the match yourself on TV with everybody, the whole world watching, and experience it that way? You almost had to be like an out-of-body experience watching yourself become champion, because it was a rush knowing you as a friend, but you personally, it had to be a pretty unique experience.
Yeah, I mean, we give a lot of credit to a vast majority that reads spoilers, but in reality, it's really not as many as we think. I think just because the internet community is loud, but they're not many as we think.
Yeah.
So it's just, but like the reaction online was very fair and amazing for me. But watching it personally, I had a nice little soiree. My girlfriend hooked us up with a little party room in her old employment, and a bunch of people came by, And what was cool about it is, like, it's a bunch of people that support either her or I, or, like, our friends. But if they're not huge wrestling fans, maybe they'll check it out from time to time.
Yeah.
Kind of fans that we need more of, like, mainstream people that will check it out from time to time. And, again, when we talk about smart fans and, credibility or, like, this thing with the finish or outside interference, they were hook, line, and sinker with every little thing we did and every little part of that story we told, even, like, it was majority clean, but, I'm still kind of a dirtbag, so
right.
I still need a little help in this stuff with TIAWS, which, I guess a guy who's never had a wrestling match in his life who can give out stars would say, hey, that's typical TNA. But you watch the reaction of people that are, we try to get, because wrestling fans always going to be there, and they're hook, line, and sinker buying into this and seeing it unfold, and that was kind of an out-of-body experience. And, I could be more thankful for the support of everyone that came to that, and the support I get from, my family that traveled to see it, or the support I get from friends, and the support I get from my girlfriend, is for some reason loved me for so long, even though I do this horrible job as a living. Like, it's all, it was everything I've ever been through, every stupid personal or professional hell I've ever had to overcome. It made it all worth it, and, I'm very fortunate. I hate using the word blessed, because people use hashtag blessed way too much, but for one day, I could say I was hashtag blessed.
And you go from your finisher, which is, obviously the headlock driver, the 1%, 1%er, which is what it's called now. You go from having your finisher be called, I believe it was the Sweet Meat Sizzler. Am I correct?
It was never officially named because you never got to see it. But that actually, I think we called it the Mantastic DDT.
Yeah.
At first, and then Caitlin was on special guest commentary for one of those, bizarre NXT shows before, like, everyone loved it. And she was like, "Oh, there it is, the Sweet Meat Sizzler." And the fact anyone remembers that besides you or I bet Caitlin doesn't even remember it, is sad because we're losers. But yeah.
But I say it because you come a long way, and you were a guy that they so hard in WWE to give you time, development, didn't work out. You go to TNA, they give you this snobby family member of Dixie Carter. It's stuck up, rich snob. You are the 1%, and for almost 2 years, it's worked. You can see from the time you started to now, just the progression, the different feuds you've had. You're still undefeated. It feels like this is the way that maybe wrestling should be with characters, not making a character, giving him a push right away, forcing it down the audience's throats, but letting it mature over time, and then culminating to where people were cheering for you over Kurt freaking Angle when you are playing the bad guy. That it's mind-boggling. It's a credit to you, and TNA Creative is not letting it go to waste by forcing it, but letting it mature on its own and then culminating to a title win. Yeah,
we really put the time and the effort into it, and again, we talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time sometimes, but I've been in the right place at the right time. And I was the guy they got behind. And if this might have been TNA a couple of years ago, I might be like 3-time champ already, and it'd be unwarranted and, you know, tired and already done. But, like, we let it build. We let it simmer. I mean, it's so rare in wrestling to have, like, something pay off like that and to be a part of that, because that's how I like my wrestling done, you know, is sweet and awesome. And, some people were cheering me. There was, you know, again, like, there's a vocal minority that was in the corner of EC3 for that particular moment over Kurt Angle. But after I pinned him and I was celebrating with the title, I saw, because this means I'm doing my job well too, then hopefully, people throwing their hands up and just walking out of the building flabbergasted and upset. So, you know, it's cool. It's cool to have that kind of. The only sound I don't want to hear is the sound of indifference. So, boos, yays, cheers, jeers. As long as there's noise, and there was a lot of noise, you know, I couldn't be happier with it.
If you don't want to answer this, I understand. But who was the first person to give you a hug when you walked through the curtain?
John Gaborik.
What did Angle say to you when back when everything was done?
You know, we talked. You know, I said to him, he's, you know, Mr. Yeah, thinking about it. Just think it for a moment. My life will never forget. Later that day, he was sitting down talking to me, and I will not say what he said to me, but to hear those words come out of his mouth was maybe even more important than actually winning the title.
You are champion in a very confusing time, maybe for TNA fans, because you have Jeff Jarrett, who has his own Global Force Wrestling promotion, now seems to be back with TNA, and like you said, rumors run rampant, speculation, people run with stuff. But Jeff Jarrett, you know, wins King of the Mountain at Slammiversary in a TNA, you know, arena, but he still has Global Force. There's guys going to Global Force that were with TNA. You're the head honcho in a very, very unique time. What's your take on Jarrett being involved with TNA, or is he involved in Global Force? Guys leaving to go to Global Force. I mean, is there going to be an invasion? I mean, what's going on with, in your take about this whole situation with Jarrett and Global Force and TNA?
Yeah. It's really interesting because despite being Dixie Carter's nephew, I'm not privy to business handlings yet. You know, I'm sure I'll work my way there someday. But first off, when I first got here, Jeff was a big help to me. So even having him around a couple of days, it's good to have veteran guys that you can learn from and absorb the business from, that kind of stuff. I don't know. Maybe I've been too busy Googling myself and not looking at other online news sources about anyone else, because why would I care? But I didn't know people were leaving TNA and signing with Global Force, but that does provide an interesting scenario.
Uh-huh.
We have Jeff Jarrett. Is there an invasion coming? I mean, that means there's more guys for me to beat. Cool, awesome, bring it. But I think at the end of the day, in this business industry, whatever, this is a good thing for wrestling, and hopefully maybe Jeff Jarrett's involvement takes away some of the black eye that unwarranted TNA may have with some people, and we can go out there and continue growing, thriving, succeeding, and delivering.
Do you think having promotions like TNA, Ring of Honor in the same channel as you guys now, and then having Global Force, having you guys, the three below WWE, be a part of each other, mix and mingle, that's the way to bring more eyes to the product and to you, to Ring of Honor, young talent there, and also Global Force, is to, you know, team up and kind of mesh together. Is that smart, do you think?
I think so. I don't see why I wouldn't. People tend to forget that TNA's international markets are probably comparable to WWE's, maybe not on the same level, but close. Domestically, though, yeah, WWE is the head honcho. WWE is number one, and they will be number one. They have such a leg up, and there's don't cheat and say that. Everyone knows it. They are a global force, and they are domestically super superior. As far as TNA, Global Force, Ring of Honor, there's a lot that goes into the business of working together with other promotions, maybe more than I wish there was, because I would love nothing more than to bring that TNA World Championship to the Ring of Honor ring and just start hitting the suckets and flipping everybody off. I think that's great business. I don't know about you guys, So, can we do it? I hope so. Will we? To be determined.
Now, you're going to be here in Cleveland next Friday for Absolution X. You are part of a very unique match, not only because it's a Cleveland street fight, but the members, the guys in the match, because you have obviously yourself, TNA World Champion. You have Samoa Joe, which was WWE. You have Johnny Gargano, who's known all over the world. The Young Bucks, Lucha Underground, Son of Havoc, Raymond Rowe from Ring of Honor. I mean, it's every major promotion is represented in this single match in Cleveland on an independent scene with AIW. That I don't know when the last time that has ever happened, if it has ever happened, which you have so many promotions, especially a contracted WWE guy in an independent match mixed in with a bunch of other guys with, TNA, Ring of, like I said, but that's a very unique match and you're a part of it.
Yeah, the whole concept is surreal, and AIW and John Thorne have booked a real doozy. The thing about that match is a vast majority of the guys have ties to Cleveland and their starts, in Cleveland and with AIW. It's something that I don't know if we're not getting the word out enough. Like, we've sold out the building.
Yeah.
Of course. I believe there might be some tickets on a waiting list available. Don't quote me on that. I might have seen that. But we sold it out. Sweet. But, that's something the wrestling world should be busted out, because that is a pretty surreal lineup. I mean, first off, the Young Bucks, T-shirts so extraordinaires, New Japan, Ring of Honor. They dish out suckets like no other, and I will say this, and I'll say this now, I will not be sucking anything at Absolution 10. Matt and Nick. You have Josh Prohibition, who's been just a mainstay in Cleveland for so long and had all the potential in the world to be whatever you wanted to be in wrestling, but chose a civilian life, which was a great idea and something I wish I did before I became TNA champ. Just kidding. You have Johnny Gargano, Dragon Gate, just super indie dude. Alex Daniels, Cleveland. He's a new up-and-comer in Cleveland, and found his way in the match. Good for him. And then on my squad, you have the TNA World Champion, myself. You have a former TNA World Champion. You have NXT, and, sold so many T-shirts, he's going straight to WWE where he belongs, Samoa Joe. You have my homie throwing suplexes, Raymond Rowe from Ring of Honor. DJ Z spinning tunes and hitting some sort of flippy dive. Then, Matt Cross, Son of Havoc, and Lucha Underground. Every major promotion in one match. Insane.
It's and I agree with you. It deserves, and it's sold out. So if you're listening to this and you want to come, good luck, because there's a long waiting list and the place is sold out. But I agree. This deserves more recognition for what John Thorne and AIW have done in bringing everybody together in one match. Such star power in one match, and especially you winning the title just in time when you before you come home, adds that world championship element to the match too. It's going to be a great night, and Vader's going to be there. I mean, Big Van Vader is going to be in the building as well. Vader's going to be there. Who knew? I mean, I'm coming back a world champion. I'm probably the most hated guy in the match. That's something to say. That's cool. But looking forward to that very much. For the people in attendance, you will be bringing the TNA World Championship belt with you to Cleveland, right? Oh, absolutely. I'll be bringing the official one. And, of course, I will be selling picture opportunities with it. So, absolutely. Get in line. Is that... Squeeze every penny out of this thing. I know you do the indie scene, and this question is from Steve Guy, a co-host who couldn't be here for the interview, but he wanted to know if you would ultimately want to stop doing indies and just concentrate doing TV with TNA, or because of how you guys, tape TNA in blocks and then they air and then you guys tape again, it gives you the chance to do indies and you probably never stop doing indies. I love the opportunity to do indies. The only way I would stop is that TNA was running the full gamut of live events. She's in her cards right now, but I love wrestling. I love being on the road. I love the opportunity that indies provide is different too than you get
working for a company, going to live events where you're working your guys, and it's cool, but you see each other all the time. Going on indies, you get to experience new guys. That sounded weird. You get to experience new guys. Going on the indies, you get to compete against other talents. That sounds more less. To compete against other talent, pick things up from guys you never expect, which again sounds weird. Learn things professionally from other combatants you wouldn't expect to learn. You get to meet interesting, weird wrestling fan people, and indies are cool like that. And one thing I like to do on indies too is like get to watch the whole show. And the only reason I'm any good, if I am good, is because veterans took their time to help me out and tell me things that can improve my game. Hopefully, I can parlay any sort of knowledge I have to other young up-and-coming competitors.
And speaking of that, final question before you let you go. I know you got your workout coming in here shortly. Tough Enough. I know you're probably not watching Tough Enough, but Tough Enough is back.
No way.
Yeah, I know. I figured. But my question is, now that you're a world champion, maybe not with, obviously with TNA, if you were able to speak to the Tough Enough competitors and offer them advice, what would be probably the top couple things you would say to these, 13 competitors trying to make it in the business?
Oh, man. In the scenario they're in, I guess it's tough to say, but one of the competitors was on an indie show recently I was on before he was on Tough Enough, and I forget his name off the top of my head, but he's an amateur wrestler. He's a singlet, like USA guy. He was the one guy who was, if you ever saw that meme where there was no American flag in the building, he was standing on the steps and had an American flag Zubas on, so I turned and saluted his pants. So when I found out that it was him, I was like, you're the man. And I know he's on the show, and he's a good example because he was young, he was hungry, he asked a bunch of questions, he asked him to watch his match. I would say that guy, my advice would be follow that kid because he gets it. But, just enjoy the ride, have respect for what you're doing, know that you're going to run into a world of apprehension from other people. Keep your head down, your eyes open, your ears open, and get better and give it your best shot because you never know if you're going to have another opportunity.
All right, Ethan Carter III, your new TNA World Champion right here on This Is Awesome Wrestling Show. Not for the first time, not for the second time, but he is the only three-time guest on the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show. We will see you Friday here in Cleveland for Absolution. Sorry, people, sold out. Get on the waiting list. I'm sure John is being called by everybody and their mother trying to get tickets for this big main event and a great card as well. And here in Cleveland for Absolution 10, AIWrestling.com is the website. Ethan,
and if you can't get a ticket, you still want a piece of some of my merch, send me up on Twitter. I'll pop outside, see what I can do.
There you go. Always helping to follow people.
Shirt too, right?
Yeah, you gotta get me. You gotta get me a shirt. You're gonna have a new shirt. Like John Cena has a shirt for his belt when he, has a belt on his shirt. You're gonna have a shirt, for your new title reign coming out.
Probably not by then. I just had an idea for a new shirt because you mentioned the Cena shirt. It's like the champ is here with the arrow pointing down, and it's a dick joke. Dick joke's rule. Or maybe I can make an even bigger dick joke out of it because I don't have as many restrictions. So I'm going to be thinking about that.
Are you saying Cena's shirt's a dick joke?
I'm saying it implies a dick joke. Don't quote me out of context. I don't want to read the sheets later. EC3 says Cena's shirt's a dick joke, which is actually a pretty good headline.
That would be that's why I asked again to make sure there's no question that you did not imply that it was a dick joke.
I don't care. Quote it however you want to.
All right, man. We'll see you Friday here in Cleveland. Thank you so much.
I want a better dick joke than that. Okay, I'm done. All right, we'll see you guys Friday. Absolution. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. There you go. Man of the hour, EC3, Cleveland native, Ethan Carter III, new TNA World Champion. And like always, all our interviews are sponsored by Weber Grill. Make sure to check out their new app on the iPhone and Android. And check out their website, webergrill.com. We appreciate the time he gives us for coming on the show, his third time on the show like we mentioned. You can go back and listen to the previous 2 interviews we've had with EC3. Head over to our iTunes, This Is Awesome Wrestling Show. Subscribe, rate us, leave a comment. But also, our show feed is categorized, obviously, by episode, but also features in the headline our guests for that week. And we've had some big guests on the show, from Seth Rollins to Kevin Owens to Adrian Neville, the Young Bucks, Too Cold Scorpio, The Miz, Heath Slater, Mark Henry. Who else have we had on? A whole list. Little Guido was our guest this week. Samoa Joe has been on the show. Sasha Banks has been on the show. So our list continues to grow, and we have some big guests coming up this month of July here on the show. So really appreciate your time listening. Head over to our iTunes feed, subscribe so you get that notification when a new podcast is up. And we appreciate your listenership, as always, here on CLE Sound and the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show. See you later.